I can honestly say I have never been to a place like the mansion on O Street. I've done escape rooms, I've been to estate sales, I've been to quirky hotels and museums, but I have not done a combination of all of them at the same time. Welcome to Pop Culture Passport, your ultimate guide to quirky and cool destinations across the US. I'm your host, Beth Scalacci, aka the Roman Yeti, here to help you dive into the world of theme parks, uncover film and TV locations, and explore quirky museums, roadside attractions, and legendary venues that capture the heart and soul of this unique country. So grab your pop culture passport and let's discover destinations that resonate with your interest, not just with what's trending on social media. Are you ready? Let's roam! Welcome back. I have been hearing about the O Street Museum in Washington, D.C. for a while now, and we finally got to visit between Christmas and New Year. It did not disappoint, and I cannot wait to share our experience with you. But first, I really feel you need some background to fully appreciate the experience. I mean, they actually show you a video before you begin exploring to share the history of the museum and the mansion. So you know this backstory loving me totally dug the video. So a little background. The O Street Museum is actually part of the mansion on O Street. It gets a little confusing, I'm not gonna lie. And it has this fascinating origin story. So the mansion itself is a collection of five interconnected row homes, originally built in 1892 by the architect Edward Clark. He also helped work on the U.S. Capitol. Now, these historic homes were later transformed into a single property, and it blends art, history, and creativity in a way that's it's just like anything unlike anything else I've experienced, at least. So in 1980, H. Leonard's, an entrepreneur and philanthropist, founded the O Street Museum Foundation. Now, her vision was to create a space where people from all walks of life could come together to explore and create. And the foundation really emphasizes the diversity, inspiration, and education that is so important to Leonard's. Now, here's one that shocked me, and I fell in love with this place even more because you might not expect it, but the O Street Mansion has a deep and personal connection to one of the most iconic figures in civil rights history. Yes, Rosa Parks. In the 1990s, after facing significant challenges, including a violent home invasion in Detroit, Rosa Parks needed a place where she could rest and recover. And the founder of the mansion, H. Leonard's, opened the doors to her, providing a safe and supportive environment. Now, Parks often described the mansion as a place where she could relax, reflect, and heal in peace. And it became much more than a building to her. It was a sanctuary, and over time, she and developed a close friendship, which Leonard's later chronicled in her book, Rosa Parks Beyond the Bus. Now, the book offers a rare glimpse into Rosa Parks' life beyond the historical headlines and just revealing her humanity and her resilience. Her time at the mansion has had a lasting impact. It inspired the O Street Museum's ongoing commitment to social justice, equality, and education. And today, visitors can find artifacts and exhibits that honor her legacy and showcase her role in the civil rights movement, as well as her connection to the mansion. There's actually a room dedicated to her, and I have to tell you, it was very emotional and awe inspiring to stand in the room that Rosa Parks had stayed in. It like I said, all inspiring, just very emotional. Just had to sort of stand and reflect for a moment. It was beautiful. But the tribute to Rosa Parks goes beyond the artifacts and the room. The mansion really embodies her values of creativity, diversity, and activism. And it's woven into the very fabric of the mansion. And it's just incredible to think that this What looks like a quirky, eclectic space also has served as a place of refuge for someone who has made such an indelible mark on US history. Now, the mansion on O Street isn't just a museum packed with secret doors and fascinating collections. It's also a thriving creative hub, and that's thanks to the Artist in Residence program. This unique initiative offers artists of all kinds, musicians, writers, painters, filmmakers, and more, a chance to dive headfirst into their craft in one of the most inspiring and probably unconventional settings you can imagine. So, what makes this program so special? It's rooted in the mansion's mission to spark creativity and foster artistic growth. Like, picture this, you're an artist surrounded by eclectic decor, hidden passageways, and just a treasure trove of historical artifacts. I mean, if that doesn't ignite your imagination, what's going to? So here's the best part. Artists in the program get room and board, freeing them from the usual daily distractions. And it's not just about having a place to crash, it's about diving into a world where creativity flows freely. They encourage to collaborate with fellow residents and draw inspiration from the mansion's endless curiosities. Because let's face it, there's no shortage of surprises in this place. But the program isn't just about creating in solitude, it's about sharing that creativity with the world. And these artists are encouraged to connect with visitors through workshops, performances, or exhibits. And it just turns the mansion into even more of a vibrant hub. In many ways, the Artist in Residence program reflects the heart of the mansion itself. Just as Rosa Parks found refuge here, artists find a sanctuary where they can dream big, push boundaries, and create something truly meaningful. It's proof that the mansion is so much more than a quirky tourist destination, and it's just a place where creativity, connection, and inspiration thrive. And you really feel that energy throughout the building. So, let's dive into our experience. Now, I didn't know what to expect when we arrived at the O Street Mansion. I had heard about the themed rooms and the secret doors, but seeing it in person was just something else entirely. Now, as we walked up to the mansion, the sheer size of the mansion caught me off guard. Like I said earlier, it's 5 row homes connected, and you really feel that scale of how big it is as you walk up. There's these beautiful Alice in Wonderland statues outside that just add this instant whimsical touch and gives you sort of foreshadowing of what you're about to experience. And I said we went between New Year's and Christmas, so it was still decorated for Christmas. Again, just an even more magical feel. But so before we even walked inside, I knew we were in for something truly special, and you started to feel that excitement build before we got in there. We rang the doorbell at the front door, and we were greeted warmly. From the moment we walked in, it was like sensory overload, but in the best way. There's just so much to look at, and there's people wandering around, and there's just a hum of excitement in the air. The staff was incredibly nice and helpful. They got us checked in, pointed us to the restroom after our long drive, and then led us to a room where we watched the orientation video that I mentioned. This video gave us some fascinating insights to the history that we just discussed, and it instantly made that experience feel more meaningful. Like we were stepping into a living story and the history of this place. We also learned some practical tips, like how to spot a hidden door, so, what could be a hidden door and what is not a hidden door, and the importance of not disturbing hotel guests. So, I'll give you one little. I don't want to give things away, but if it has a door handle, don't go through it because that might be a hotel guest in a room. So the mansion is spread across 4 floors, and you sort of go on different levels on each floor because between the connecting row homes, and it's just this wild mix of hotel and themed rooms. And exploring it just felt like you were diving into a treasure hunt in each room. And speaking of treasures, pretty much everything in the mansion is for sale. Plates, teacups, signed guitars, you name it. Julia even noticed in the restroom, like, the waste basket had a price tag on it. So when I say everything's for sale, pretty much everything's for sale, that that's to the extreme. But, you know, it with this sale, like, it reminded you of, like, an estate sale, like, things were just sorta casually laying on beds or hanging up clothes were in closets, they were for sale. It just added to that sorta quirky lived-in charm for sure. Now beyond the housewares that were for sale, there were jaw-dropping collectibles, like these guitars, signed guitars, there was Funko Pops, some, like, really classic Wizard of Oz collectibles, like some cool old cookie jars, tons of pop culture memorabilia. At one point, we almost left with an in-box, already boxed up, Disney Barbie doll, which are hard to find, but we decided to pass, and funny enough, it's probably good we decided to pass because I'm not sure we could even remember where in the mansion we found it and how to get back to it. It's so easy to get lost and turned around, which is part of the fun, but also if you see something, maybe just pick it up or leave breadcrumbs. But most of the rooms had very distinct theme, many inspired by pop culture, so I loved it. Some of my favorite rooms were the Beatles room, the Wizard of Oz room. There was a superheroes room complete with a video of Stan Lee talking, playing, and a Halloween room that really was it looked straight out of Spirit Halloween, like, all the animatronics from Spirit Halloween crammed into a small bedroom, it was great. It was it was so much fun, and, there's a wine cellar that's a little tricky to find, but you'll find it, and so worth it. It's very cool looking, sort of cave feeling. But the secret doors are, like, the real highlight, like, discovering them felt like stumbling upon hidden layers, and there's 80 hidden doors scattered throughout. Not all of them are accessible during any one visit, and they're constantly changing which ones are open and available. Now, on the website and in the video, they say that finding 3 doors is above average, but we definitely found more than that. I tried to keep track and count in the beginning, but kept getting twisted around and I kept getting so, like, excited about the things I was seeing that I totally lost count and then I just gave up. But I'm gonna say one of my proudest moments was finding the smallest door in the house. So we were told there was the smallest door, and in that, was hid a Tinkerbell snow globe. So it basically boiled down to me just being nosy, but it was so much fun. Everyone else was out of the room, moving on somewhere else, and I found it. So that was my big moment for the day. That only made me really happy, but that's okay. But I don't wanna give you all the details. I don't wanna ruin the experience. It's just, again, one of those places that you have to check out if you're in the area. So, if you're up for an overnight adventure, you can book one of the mansion's hotel rooms, which on their website seems to start at $475 per night. Now, we learned, and I love this fact, that they will show you how to find your room once, just once, and then you're on your own. You gotta find your way back to it. And, like, honestly, this is, like, hilarious because it's so easy to get turned around in there, and then you're like, "Did we see this room? I felt like we see this saw this room." The rooms themselves are really unique, and they just give off sort of that serious, Niagara Falls in, like, the '90s, '80s, '90s vibe. If you if you've ever experienced that, you'll know what I mean. But they were just charming and they were fun. And it's definitely more of a one of a kind experience than like, "Oh, we're staying in DC and this is our hotel room." So, if you're up for it, that is definitely an adventure to check out. Now, a few things I want you to know before you go. Tickets at the museum start at $30.45. You can get it online. And you can add on treasure hunts, you can add on some food. We did the standard ticket. We had a great time. We were there for about 2 hours. You could definitely spend longer, if you were trying to find all the doors and everything. The museum is located near DuPont Circle, so you can drive downtown and park at a nearby parking garage, which is what we did. The email that you get from the mansion actually had suggestions for parking, so we were able to pay ahead of time and sort of plan where we were going to park. You can also take the metro and get off at the DuPont Circle stop. And it's a nice area, and we passed several restaurants if you get hungry before or after your adventure. The mansion and museum just have so many special events and special themed tours. There's a lot on their website, you can check out. So, like, maybe there's something of interest so you can plan your trip around that special event. And as I mentioned, the mansion is a bit of an estate sale, I'm gonna call it. And we learned that many of the items you see are donated by visitors or supporters who want to share their unique treasures with the world. From antiques and pop culture memorabilia to quirky oddities and housewares, these donations add to the mansion's charm and their ever changing collection. Like, I really don't think, I think you can go several times and not have the same experience. That's what's really cool about it. And the proceeds support the mansion's programs like the Artists in Residence initiative we discussed, and also just maintaining the property. Each piece carries its own story, and it's a treasure hunt every time you go. Now, we did go on a Saturday, the Saturday between Christmas and New Year. We went early afternoon, and it wasn't crowded at the point we got there, but it did start filling up. And the crowds do can make it tough getting through some of the narrow hallways. You just have to be patient, let people go by. But I just wanted to share in case crowds sort of, make you feel a little uneasy. You want to, try a week, go during the week, and maybe try to go with one of the first times in the morning or one of their last calls. Um, just to try to avoid that because it does sometimes when there's a lot of people and you're sort of seeing people open the secret doors, you're like, oh man, I wanted to get in there. But so use your own discretion of what you're comfortable with for sure. Um, just looking back at my experience, I had heard people calling this a tourist trap, and I guess I can see their point of view. Um, but we loved it, and we would definitely go back to explore again and even to check out one of their special events. It was so unique, and I've never experienced anything like it before, and it's so different for a city like Washington that's so steeped in history and politics, and I just there was no screens and, you didn't have to use an app, and it was just something really original, and I would like to see more of these places. If you have something like this in your area, please let me know. Click on that send us a text link and let me know, or get me on social media because I definitely want to check out more places like this. So for this week's Yeti's Pop Pick, I want to mention the fires in LA. I have found it so hard to put into words what I'm feeling, and I just have to say my heart goes out to everyone affected by the fires, and I know LA will rebuild stronger than ever, and like I said, I am rarely totally speechless, but I just have been watching the news and I don't know what to say. So, my heart goes out to everyone. If you're affected, I'm really sorry. And I look forward to what the rebuild will bring. And with that, we add another stamp to our pop culture passport. I hope that this episode inspires you to go out and explore all that is quirky and cool, even in your own backyard. So follow, download, and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. Tell a friend and leave a review if you like what we're doing. It really helps the show grow. You can also follow me on Instagram or Facebook. Just search for The Roaming Yeti. So keep roaming and finding your fun.